Let's make our phyllo dough. Very simple mixture. We're going to need about 2 cups of flour, some olive oil, about 2 tablespoonfuls, and about a cup of milk, maybe a little bit under, and some salt, about half a teaspoon of salt that I've already put in there. You can't really see it, but it's in there. So we're going to take our flour, add it to our salt. We're going to add our olive oil, about 2 tablespoons. I'm going to stir that up a little bit just to get that mixed up a little bit. You don't really need to work that in there too much. You do want to get that salt mixed up, however. And then we're going to slowly incorporate our milk. Just scrape in from the sides like that. Bring it all into the center. I'd say about 1 1/4 cups is where we're at now. And that's just perfect. We can see it start pulling away there. And at this point, you're really going to just have to get in there and work on the dough. Just as if you were kneading bread. Until it all comes together. Once that's all together and you have a nice bowl, there might be a little extra flour on the side there. And just pop it into a bowl, pat down on it, and cover it with your lid. We're going to let that rest for a few minutes. This will make our dough more workable, so we're going to give it about half an hour, 20 minutes. Once our dough has sat for a bit, we're ready to roll it out. We're just going to flour. I like to work on wax paper. We're going to flour that a little bit. Make sure any surface you roll on is well floured. I'm going to secure the edges a bit. With a little bit of dough. And what we're going to do, our dough is much more malleable now. What we're going to do is separate it in half. And take the first half and roll it out. The shape we're aiming for is a square. Move this out. Just keep flipping it and rolling, pressing towards the edges, applying pressure as you roll out, and releasing as you come in. Rolls out fairly easily. going to get this as thin as possible without it being paper thin. Like I said, this is very different than the commercial stuff that you buy. This is actually healthier for you. It doesn't have a lot of the additives that the commercial ones have. You get it much better. It's much better tasting. The taste is fantastic. I mean, it really doesn't compare to what you buy commercially at all. The texture is different. The taste is different. That's the good thing about making things yourself. You can get something that you're really not going to get with a commercially purchased product. You can't, it's very difficult to make this baklava with the commercially prepared stuff. The Filo Dough just won't hold up the way it will with this. Because this is going to be a little bit thicker, you can also use a lot less. I find I enjoy this type far better than I enjoy anything commercially purchased. It's really worth trying. Now this is about the thickness on that now. I might want it a touch thinner. I am going to cut this down into an exact square. So we're going to roll out just a little bit more. It's actually quite thin. I'm starting to be able to see through it. I don't know if that's translating onto the camera. It's very easy to work with, as you can see. My edge is a little bit thick. I want to roll that out just a little bit more there. And once I do that, I have an almost square shape. What I want to do is actually cut it into squares. I like to use a ruler because it's critical. I use a metal ruler. It's critical that these are absolutely square. I'm just going to use the ruler and cut halfway down the middle. I'm going to lay each side one over the other. Cut right down the center there also. Again, I'm going to lay over one side over the other. I'm going to cut off any rough edges I have there. Back in with my dough. Now these are still too large for me to use. As you can see, I have a nice square there of all my Filo doughs layered, one on top of the other. But this is still a little big for what I want to do. This will make it rather large baklava. I want something a little bit smaller. So what we're going to do is cut these in half. These are 6 by 6. And what we're going to do is cut them in half. Layer them again, one on top of the other. cut them, again, right down the center. So we have a nice stack of evenly shaped Filo Dough squares, as you can see. Like I said, you don't have to worry about this drying out. You don't have to worry about covering them. Very easy to work with. The recipe should give you approximately 16 to 25 of these, if not more, depending on how thin you roll out your Filo Dough. Like I said, you don't want to go too thin. You want those edges there. You want that you want to be able to see those layers. You don't want more than 2 layers. See that? Pretty, really delicious. I'll give you a close-up of that with the camera. I hope you give it a try. I think you'll really enjoy this. It's definitely a different baklava, different way of having it. And you won't be able to get anything like this commercially prepared. This is, like I said, one of the joys of actually making things for yourself. You're going to get something different, something fantastic that you really can't get anywhere else. It's a very nice treat. Like I said, I hope you give it a try. I hope you enjoy it.